Hey guys, good morning. This is Clint O'Rear with Creative Retail Talks, and we're talking with Alexa Westerfield this morning. Alexa, thanks for joining us.
Hey Clint, how's it going?
Good, good. So good to have you with us this morning. I know you and I have chatted a lot over the last several months just about happenings in the industry and things that you're working on. So I'm excited to visit with you this morning and share some things from your journey. Hi, this is Clint O'Rear. Thanks for joining the Creative Retail Talks podcast today, where we will be discussing the latest in life, business, and retail.
We need to be more mindful of, and that is inclusion.
Yeah.
So I think recently, with all the race relation stuff going on, I think it takes a glaring look even within our own industry of how are we serving, other people of color, gender, all these different things that starts to come up. And I'm not sure that a lot of times, myself included, when I managed influencer pool, a lot of them were white ladies that looked very similar to me because they were people I made friends with at the show or this or that. They were just natural relationships, or I saw them using the product. And I think my friend brought it up a couple of times. It's like, there's really not much diversity on our influencer pool. And I was like, yeah, but they're all really good, And this is 8 or 9 years ago. But I think now looking back on it, it was like, I think I could have done a better job of really, because I think it's easy to say, oh, well, that person, like I just like this and I see this from this viewpoint. We need to do a little bit deeper dive in trying to find people of everybody that's using the product and find ways to connect and to show some representation. I think it's just something that we need to be a little more mindful of. It's not I know this is a process. For one, it's a process to build out influencer programs and that kind of thing. But how about when you do a campaign and you pick 10 bloggers, you just try to find different representation. And mind you, I'm not talking just about representation of color or, any of that kind of stuff. I'm talking about what about not all your people are people with kids? Mm-hmm. What about maybe you have some younger people, you have some older people. Let's just start thinking about who is this person we're serving, and because I'll tell you this, I listen a lot of Brene Brown, and might sound a little woo-woo, it's not really, but people just want to be seen. I think we as company need to be thinking about these things and talking about them.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you brought that up. That's something, obviously as a country, this topic is front and center right now, and I'm so glad it is. I have many friends, just personally, that have been very affected by it, that are people of color and African American, and it's something that I've realized myself I haven't had as much awareness and sensitivity to as I should have. And so it's something my team's been talking a lot about. We're having very transparent discussions on my team, and one of the things we're talking about is how do we, as we're out selling and marketing products, deciding what companies to partner with, how do we make that even part of our initiative to make sure that we are being more inclusive and bringing more diversity to the product lines that we're working with and the products that we're helping place in the market. So I love that you brought that up. It's important to the industry. I was on a call with an executive group from AFCI a couple of weeks ago, and it was being discussed. And we have a long way to go, but I'm encouraged that the conversations are taking place. And now we've got to make sure that there's action behind the conversations, right? And so I love that that's where the conversation is going. And I think it's important for all of us in the industry to be thinking about that. And your point on the signage, that's a great point. It's not just big initiatives. It's even the little things of, what are we doing with our packaging, and what are we doing with our signage, and what projects are we developing and putting out there for people to use. And are we thinking about the broader market and the more diverse marketplace, and a strategy of inclusion in everything that we're doing? So I really appreciate you bringing that up, and that's a great point and a very important topic.
And one thing with when I speak of strategy is I think a lot of people, this can be very overwhelming, because it's like, oh my gosh, like how do I even start? And the part of it's just starting. Part of it's starting from one place and being like, we're going to try this and see how this goes.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of times it's making small steps and then just keep adding to them, because I find that a lot of people, you start out or you work with somebody on a strategy and you want immediate changes overnight. Like you just want this immediate like overhaul of everything. And that's not how it's going to work.
Right.
It's like an evolution. So like, it's like just a slow evolution, and it might even take your brand. Like, let's be honest, let's be real about how this stuff works. Sometimes that packaging is going to sit on the shelf for 5 years. I mean, you're not going to change the look of it. Like, but is there a need to start changing the look of it? Do we need to start thinking about it long-term with our content? Let's make this a rolling strategy where we're going to start to add, let's take a bigger scope view of, you need to be looking at what content you're putting out. Who are your partners in making the content? When you go to photograph the content, like how are you doing it? I think it's a process breakdown. I think it's really I think we just got to take a little deeper look at it. And a lot of brands don't even look at it. I think they just do.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and so I'm gonna reference a lifetime principle here from Frozen 2.
Nice.
So there's a song in Frozen 2, and it's called "Do the Next Right Thing." And,
okay.
I actually posted a LinkedIn post about this. I do a thing every Monday called Monday Mindset Reset, and we had just seen this movie, and this song captured my attention, and I thought, what a great principle! Do the next right thing, and I think that's the principle that you're talking about that we can apply here.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think we have to stop looking at it, even like, with the Black Lives Matter stuff, you can post a square, but it's really like looking at it in a bigger perspective of like having the conversation. I mean, having conversations, and, they're not easy conversations to have, but like, what does this sense of inclusion look like for our business? And it's going to be different, varied on different levels, right? Like it's going to be for some brands, they're like, well, we don't really need to. I don't know. I'd say it's good right now for everybody to at least have the conversation, start talking on it.
Right.
That at least shows that you're willing to talk about the tough subject and to be like, do we need to be doing it? Do we need to be taking another look at what we're creating or who we're, working with, the strategies and actions we're doing? So, I think we all have to be a little easy on ourselves that this is going to take time, and it's going to, big picture, and a lot of times we just learn as we go. Like, I think culturally, all of us, we're going to learn as we go. A lot of changes I don't know about you, but like during this pandemic, it's been like, it feels like every month there's a big rolling change of some kind of attitude, or, you know what I mean? Like cultural attitude.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a very interesting time, hasn't it?
Right? Yeah. So for sure.
Well, good. Well, like I said, I really appreciate you bringing that topic up and addressing it, and some very important things you mentioned there that I hope people will take away and think about how they can take action with it. So thank you for bringing that up.
Oh, you're welcome. I definitely, it's a learning process for me too. So just so you know, like I actively think about this. I do social media for other clients, and I actively think of representation in my feed, like who I feature. I think about like the visuals and the marketing mix and that kind of thing, and like what you put out visuals, and I think we need to just, it's just a little deeper thinking.
Definitely. I totally agree.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation on the Creative Retail Talks podcast today. Be sure to visit our show notes page for more information on today's show. And if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, reach out to me at clint@creativeretailtalks.com. Creative Retail Talks is all one word. That email address will also be in the show notes. Hope you have a great day.